Side and watch all the coverage here on Channel 2 unless you want to become one of those victims that will show on the news later on tonight. We're live in Cobb County. More coming up later. Ross Cavett, Channel 2 Action News.
Ross, earlier it looked like they were going 35 or 40 miles an hour south on Interstate 75. They still moving that fast?
Let's pan over and show you. There's Interstate 75. Jeff, you can swing way around here. Looks like 35 miles an hour is pretty much about it. You can see the snow is still coming down and actually is starting to stick to the interstate once again. You can clearly see the lanes of traffic as they're heading south into Metro Atlanta. More traffic heading south than north than we've seen this morning. And yeah, it's still about 35 miles an hour, still a lot of ice, and you can see the snow still coming down and actually sticking to the interstate.
All right, Ross Cavett, thanks very much. Right. Words of wisdom from one of those drivers who said, you know, they're going too fast out here.
Yeah,
yes,
they are. Got that layer of ice underneath there from the rain that we had all during the morning hours, and then we had to change over to snow. Now the snow's on top of that nice little frozen layer. So there's your slick spots. We've got some more snow out there just a falling. Let me show you what's happening outside. We take a look at our tower cam, and it's the same old picture, although the streets may look a little better, but watch out for what we call black ice. You know, that little thin layer of ice you can't see due to the blacktop, and boy, that'll get you every time. The temperature is holding at 22 degrees. The wind chill is 7 below at noontime. Humidity 77%, winds out of the northwest at 20. That's what makes the 22 feel like 7 below. The barometer now holding steady. Our high temperature for this day will be right after midnight. We hit 37. The low, our current reading of 22, and we're going lower tonight. Average temperature, no doubt, 12 degrees below normal. We picked up 0.26, quarter of an inch of liquid precipitation and about an inch or so of snow officially at Atlanta Hartsfield. A lot more than that up here in northeast Georgia. Check out the snowfall totals, and they're still coming in up here in Rabun County, but we're looking anywhere from 8 to 10 inches, as high as a foot of snow. In many locations, you come down here in Toccoa, they got about 3 inches, and then as you move down Savannah River Valley, 1 to 2 inches, and you can just kind of draw a path all the way through the heart of Metro Atlanta. A little more to the north, a little less to the south. Did get some snow down in Macon, had several calls about I-75 going down into Macon. There are some slick spots. They didn't get as much snow as we did, but they did get the freezing rain, sleet, brief period, and then the snow, and they're picking up some light flurries down there now. 3D weather vision. Check this out. Look at all this moisture we were looking at right last night. We had thunderstorms in the Florida Panhandle. All this was surging up to the northeast, wrapping around an area of low pressure. It was the classic race of the moisture versus the cold air, and guess who won? Yeah, the cold air. You're looking at the temperatures up here were well below freezing on the back side of that low as it scooped the moisture right out of the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic. All right, there you go. We went to darkness there. All right, put this into motion for you. And you can see the counterclockwise swirls that climbed up the east coast, the backside of it, all snow and lots of snow across much of the Ohio Valley. West Virginia covered up in feet of snow now. It's snowing to beat the band in Virginia, the Carolinas, messy conditions, Greenville. Don't even think about driving up I-85. And they were telling me now out of Birmingham that I-65 and I-59 that go north out of Birmingham are closed by the Alabama State Patrol. So that's something to take notice of. You can also see how this little snow burst is just fired up again. And that'll be moving our way as the morning, or I should say now as the afternoon grows long. Here are your temperatures in the 20s and the teens. Well, what does it really feel like? Well, you couple that with northwesterly winds. 9 below here, 8 below in Nashville, 18 below and up there in Indianapolis, 16 degrees there with the snow coming down in the Carolinas. Why is it so windy? Well, you have to look at your pressure gradient. The area of low pressure that, again, is up and down the eastern seaboard. The counterclockwise swirl is very deep in the atmosphere. And then this area of high pressure, which is the Arctic high, is very large. The high is trying to rush into the low. There's your pressure gradient with the isobars. Very windy. It's going to be windy this afternoon. It's going to be windy tonight. It's going to be windy tomorrow as well. In fact, here are your forecasted maps. Still some snow out there today, and blustery and windy. Wind chill factors below zero or right at zero. Tonight, the snow begins to taper off. Still a few flurries across North Georgia. Again, the low pulling up to the northeast. Still some snow in the mountains of the Carolinas, Virginia, the nation's capital, moving into New York City, Boston, New England. No doubt, a major winter storm. They'll talk about this one for a long time. Windy conditions even tomorrow with breaks in the clouds, but I think we'll be looking at a warm-up in here by Tuesday and Wednesday. Not a warm-up today. No, sirree. 20s, that's where we are now. That's where we're going to stay. The 30s go all the way into the Florida Panhandle. Watch the overnight lows tonight. Ooh, teens and 20s well into the state of Florida. So here's your forecast for North Georgia. For the rest of the afternoon, it goes as follows. We're looking at snow showers. You know, like in the summertime, we get periods of kind of light showers and no showers at all. That's what we're going to have, just kind of scattered about. Windy and cold, no doubt. Wind chills near or below 0. The temperatures holding steady. And then for tonight, still a few snow flurries out there, otherwise cloudy and very, very cold. Whatever's out there is not melting until maybe late tomorrow afternoon. Here are your next 5 days. To see what we're talking about, we had mostly sunny skies on your Tuesday, and then partly cloudy and mild conditions on Wednesday. But the matter at hand, the next 24 hours, really, where it's just not going to warm up. We're holding in the 20s now. The snow that we saw there in Alabama that's moving our way, we're not looking for anything major with it. But again, anything that falls from the sky now is just going to latch on to what's on the ground. So accumulations would be less than an inch here in town and also in North Georgia. Plus, also with the wind blowing like it is, it tends to blow the snow that might be already on the ground, and that makes it kind of tough driving, not seeing where you're going.
18 degrees in the morning.
Tomorrow morning. Yes, sir.
All right, David, thanks very much. We'll hear more from you later.
Okay.
A couple of notes here. A lot of calls about church closings. Most of the morning services I know are done by now, but if you've got questions about evening services, please call your pastor, your reverend, your priest, your church. We're not going to be able to get all of the hundreds and hundreds of churches on today. School closings, we're going to deal with that today on Channel 2 Action News at 6. And we've had a lot of calls about the David Copperfield show at the Fox Theater in Midtown Atlanta at 1 o'clock today. We are told by the Fox that that is on, so if you're going, please be careful. Georgia Power, of course, is always one of the people we think about this time of year when there might be possible outages. The company is reporting no significant outages. We get the latest from Todd Terrell with Georgia Power.
We're in pretty good shape. This is the kind of snowstorm that we enjoy because our employees get to stay home and enjoy it too, just like our customers. We have been monitoring this weather system as it began on Thursday, and we will continue to monitor it until it blows through. We have not activated our storm center, which is the location in downtown Atlanta at our headquarters where we're able to mobilize our employees and move them around the state, but we have not had to do that at this time.
That was Todd Terrell with Georgia Power. Let's go back live now to Channel 2's Jeff Dorr, who has been at Hartsfield International for several hours, where it is freezing. The traffic isn't too bad, but the air traffic, oh, that's another question, right, Jeff?
Well, as we're saying out here today, the weather outside is frightful, and the airport's not too flightful. This is right where they take the official measurements of the wind and the temperature, so we know when they say the wind chill is -7 or -9, we know we've got it. This is the place they measure it. The lines inside are pretty frightful, too. People lining up to try to figure out how in the world they are going to get out of Atlanta. We have some videotape of some of those lines as people are looking at the tote boards, trying to figure out what CX meant earlier. That's how they said canceled. We know that the bad news really isn't at Atlanta. Planes are coming in and out. It's the other airports to the north and northeast that people are trying to get to. They're taking off here just fine, but if you're going to, say, Richmond, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., you can forget about that all day long. If your destination is, say, in the Carolinas, they were hoping earlier, maybe by 3 o'clock this afternoon, those would open up. We'll still have to see how that goes. It started snowing here again pretty good. Just a little while ago, it had stopped briefly, and we had some blue sky. We don't see any of that now. The other condition, though, is the traffic and trying to get out to the airport. That is hazardous, as Ross has been pointing out, up I-75. He's on the interstates watching that and seeing them ice up. We drove down here a few hours ago, and we were watching cars spin out and crash right in front of us. We were driving around wrecks. We were seeing other people try to push cars back onto the road. People at that time were going slow enough that nobody was getting hurt. They weren't getting anywhere either. People who are trying to head to the northeast from here, they aren't getting anywhere either. We're live at the airport. Jeff Dorr, Channel 2 Action News.
Well, with a captive audience there, let's hope the restaurants at the airport laid in a store of those $4 hot dogs. You know?
Yeah, right, and those are the cheap ones.
That's right. Thank you, Jeff Dorr. Let's go live now to Pickens County, Jasper, Georgia, about 60 miles due north of the metro area, where Don McClellan has been standing out in the freezing cold for hours.
And still freezing. It's mainly the wind, Richard. And if you're looking, you may be able to see we're getting some fresh snow up here now. One of the main things that we have seen on the roads is that cars are not allowing themselves enough time to stop. For example, right out here at 5:15 and 53, we just saw a car come to a traffic light. He started hitting his brakes up here, and he was still sliding, but fortunately the cars which had the green light waited to see what he was going to do. So they avoided a fender bender, several of which we have seen here this morning. Some drivers are taking that they shouldn't. This driver saw the snow and slick streets as a chance to do some wheelies. DOT operator Denton Fox says not a good idea.
They can drive, they can drive like somebody. If they get out here and clown around, they'll all be in the ditch somewhere or inside of another automobile.
Snow plows on the roads. The wind making the 20-degree temperature feel like well below zero. But this restaurant cook not even wearing a hat.
It's not that cold.
What do you mean it's not that cold?
I stand over a grill all day. It feels good out here.
The younger you are, the less it seems you feel the cold. You know, I've run lots of races, marathons, more than 26 miles in similar weather, but the difference is that when you're running and you're moving, you feel about 25 degrees warmer than it actually is. But even if you added 25 degrees today, if you were moving, you'd still be very, very cold, which we are. From Jasper, Don McClellan, Channel 2, Action News.
Don, you mentioned the driving situation. As I recall, the professional's advice, whichever way the car's tail end is swinging, you cut into that swing, right? So if your tail end is swinging to the right, you cut to the right to stop
Richard,
the skid.
that's what the professionals say, but I got to tell you from several personal experiences, sometimes you know you should do it, but you just don't do it. And I hear them saying it, but personally, I'm not sure that works.
All right, how about better advice? Just stay home.
Amen.
Thank you, Don. Not quite as much snow in downtown Atlanta, but it looks much the same as it does all over North Georgia. The snow began covering the streets early today, and we were out coming up northward just past the Atlanta Stadium there. This is pre-dawn this morning. It's beautiful then. Not a lot of drivers out as you're coming up Capitol Avenue toward the Capitol this morning. Snow coming down very steadily. Dawn just beginning to light up, and here we are along one of the downtown streets where it may not look dangerous, but you can believe that it was quite dangerous. One of the problems, you can't see the lines downtown a lot of the time, so that is a warning when you are out. Just before the rain turned to snow last night, the rain itself caused some problems. A man who was trying to cross the downtown connector under the MLK bridge was struck by a car. Several lanes had to be shut down while police cleared the site of the accident. We are unable to tell you the condition of the man right now. We've been on the phone all morning with our correspondents and colleagues in the Radio News Network. We're going to bring you updates from the northern Georgia counties. We get a report now from Jerry Moat with WCON in Habersham County.
I'm up here in North Georgia in Cornelia, and at the moment it looks like there's about a couple of inches of snow here at the moment as it's not snowing, but we're expecting more snow throughout the afternoon. Habersham County has not had a lot of snow, but north of us in Clayton, I understand they got about 7 to 10 inches up there, and traffic is moving along real well here in Cornelia. There is a water problem in Clarksville. The power plant, or the water plant there, has no power, and they're asking the people of Clarksville to conserve the water in case there is a fire there in Clarksville. But outside of that, it's a real beautiful day here in Cornelia, and everything's looking real good for the afternoon. Jerry Moat for WSB News.
And now the latest from Clayton, Georgia, in northeast Georgia. WQXJ's Michael Harvey reports from Raven County.
In Clayton and Raven County, it's beautiful outside today, but there are some trees down on Highway 76 that may cause trouble for motorists today. Hold on, I'm going to start.
And up 75, about 45 or 50 miles in Cartersville. We get a report from Marcy Hawk of WBHF.
Here in Cartersville and Bartow County, things couldn't be better. It's basically a winter wonderland out there. There have been no major accidents to report, no power outages, and best of all, no calls to 911. County emergency crews were out early this morning putting down salt and gravel on the roads, especially on hills and bridges to ensure safe travel, but not too many motorists are actually out on the road. Earlier this morning, around 9 o'clock, not too many people were actually out. We found one group of people out playing in the snow, and they were from Florida and say they love it because that's not the kind of weather they get down there.
Thank you, Marcy Hawk in Cartersville. Over in Piedmont Park in Midtown Atlanta, it is gorgeous. It is covered with snow, and Channel 2's Rick Lockridge says he could be selling ski lift tickets if there were one.
I tell you what, you could make an awful lot of money selling sleds, that's for sure, Richard, because a lot of people are showing up here at Piedmont Park without anything remotely resembling a sled. Let's zoom on up to the top of the hill. We'll show you that since we came here a couple hours ago, the crowd up there is probably quadrupled. There were a few dozen to start with, and now there are probably several hundred of them up there. Some of them do have legitimate sleds, and some people are sledding down on pieces of cardboard, pieces of linoleum. And here we see, you got it there, Sean, this group, they've tried it before. I hope they don't block our view. 10 people, that's the record so far, sliding down on a nothing more than a sheet of plastic. So they are not going to be denied. And with all that momentum and all that inertia with all those people, they've been able to make it all the way down to the slush bath that is here at the bottom of the hill. So the sledding is fun, but when you get to the bottom, you can get doused pretty good. How's the sledding so far? A lot of thumbs up from the crowd here at Piedmont Park, which has grown considerably in the last couple hours and probably will continue to grow throughout the afternoon. Richard, we're live in Midtown. Rick Lockridge, Channel 2 Action News. Back to you.
Rick, thanks very much. We want to go live now to Channel 2's Mark Winnie, who was in Chopper 2 over Interstate 85 at the intersection with Indian Trail, one of the very busy Gwinnett County intersections. How does it look there, Mark?
Well, just in the last few minutes, Richard, we saw a car on the overpass go sideways. Now let's look over here to this off-ramp, and we've been watching this car struggle up the hill. Looked like it was going backwards a few minutes ago. Now let's go over on the other side, and if you'll follow those tire tracks, you'll find another vehicle off in the snow there. So as you can see, and this is just the first overpass we came to on 85 on our way back from that explosion. As you can see, there's it looks like something else is happening. Oh, on 85, looks like we just had an accident. Somebody's just spun out. This is live television. I'm talking and operating the camera at the same time. Our photographer is having trouble getting to us in the bad weather. So as you can see, a treacherous situation, not just on those overpasses, but around them and on the interstates as well. Chopper 2 pilot Kurt Kalbach and I will keep cruising for news, but for now, this is Mark Winnie, live in Chopper 2 for Channel 2 Action News.
All right, Mark, thanks very much. We want to get the latest now on the overall highway situation. We've got a spokesman now, or a piece of telephone tape, I believe, with a spokesman from the Georgia Department of Transportation.
DOT crews have been out clearing the road since the very early morning hours. Some refreezing is occurring due to the low temperature. DOT is urging motorists to absolutely avoid unnecessary travel until conditions improve. All interstate, U.S. and state highways are open and passable for emergency and necessary travel, but you should travel at greatly reduced speeds and increased alertness. Extreme care should be taken.
Jerry Stargell of the state DOT. We now go to Athens for a report from our correspondent with the Georgia Radio News Network there.
1.5 inches here in Athens. The roads so far are not too bad. It's really beautiful here in Athens with the backdrop of the university. People are out and about and having some fun in the snow.
Snowy Athens.
Yeah, and you see how the images there that Mark Winnie was showing from the chopper, just how slick it is. We can talk about it, but when you actually see a guy start doing a 360, it's how slick it is out there. And it's not going to get any better today. Temperatures right now 22. It's going to hover in the 20s all day, dropping into the teens tonight. A little or no additional accumulation, but there's still some snow showers flying out there.
All right, thanks. And thank you for counting on Channel 2's Action News at noon. We'll see you again at 6. We'll have cut-ins and special reports all day as warranted. Be careful.